In the face. Welcome back to Gethin Christian's channel, and today you'll find a surprisingly sober Gethin. And today, as it's Sunday afternoon, I've opted for a bottle of Heinweisner, which isn't normal for me. Let's pop him open and start this review. This is a second attempt. Quick sip. And what's up, bros? Love you, bros. Appreciate you, bros. And of course, today's review will be of this watch here, which is the Seiko SLA051. This is a beautiful SLA series timepiece from our Hattori friends in Japan. And this one is the Naomi Uemura 80th anniversary watch. It's a great piece. I mean, look at him. Just look at him. And who was Naomi Uemura? Well, he was an accomplished JDM adventurer. He did all kinds of amazing feats, like summiting Everest as part of the first Japanese team to accomplish that. He was the first person to raft the Amazon solo, the first person to climb Denali solo, or Mount McKinley as it used to be known. And he was also the first person to reach the North Pole solo, amongst other exploits. But sadly, he disappeared and was never to be seen again, whilst attempting to climb Mount McKinley for a second time, but this time in winter, which was not a very good idea, but he was an incredible man, and it was very sad. It was 1984, and he was 43 at the time of his death. His body has never been found, and he was known for his modesty and unassuming nature, and he's a national hero in Japan. But the reason for this watch being called the Uemura, I think I pronounced it right, is that Naomi wore a 6105 Seiko, what many of us know as the Willard, and I think that the watch's legacy is massively overshadowed, unfortunately, by its appearance in the film Apocalypse Now on the wrist of Captain Willard, played excellently by Mr. Martin Sheen. But I would argue that the contributions of Uemura to the world far outclips and outweigh anything that's ever been produced in Hollywood. These watches, this one, the SLA051, the SLA049, which is blue, limited to 1,200 pieces, and the SLA063, which is an Aurora dial, were released in 2021 for the commemoration of what would have been Naomi's 80th birthday. Incidentally, he did die a day after his actual birthday. So anyway, what have we got? We've got a 44mm case, 13.2mm of thickness, 49.3mm lug to lug, and a great 20mm lug spacing here. And you get the 8L35 caliber carried inside this case, which is an automatic movement, 26 joules with a 50-hour power reserve, hacking and hand winding with a date complication. It operates at 28.8 thousand vibrations per hour, or 4 Hz. It is not regulated, and its stated tolerances from Seiko are +15 to -10 seconds per day. Of course, all of the SLA Seikos that I've handled, which are 3, all run well within COSC. This one's running about +2, +3. The Marine Hoi here is about +3, +4. And Mr. June's SLA047, I think, the green one, that runs at about +1. So you would be extremely unlucky to get one that did worse than that, but it is possible. So bear that in mind when you're spending best part of £3,000 on a watch. This watch costs 2,840 British pounds, according to Seiko. I suppose that's about $3,100, something like that in America. But Mr. June doesn't pay those sort of prices. He pays Mr. June prices, and he paid £1.4 thousand for this watch, which is a used watch in basically brand new condition. There might be a few tiny marks on it, but overall there's a tiny scuff there, but it's pretty much unused. and he's done very well. So well done, Mr. June. What's up, Bob? Stay freaky. We've got an SSK stainless steel with the Deer Shield Seiko Deer Shield coating. Adds about a 250 vicus to the hardness of this beautiful watch, which I will put on my wrist, but I warn you, it's about 30 degrees here in Winchester, so I'll probably smudge up the back of this case back that I've just been polishing all afternoon, but I want to get it on the wrist quickly so you can all see it. It's extremely hot in here, but look at that. A really, really beautiful piece. This is not like your SLA, what's the other one called? It's not like that one, I forget. But anyway, we have a beautiful case. We have the 200 meters of water resistance, as we usually get with Seiko's, ISO rated, sapphire crystal. It's flat, but it has a slight internal dome for the beach. Look at that, it's just beautiful. And we have a 120 click bezel, which is quite loose, but smooth as butter. A pleasure to turn. It's a lot easier to turn than the one on my Marine Master here. This is better, I have to say. This has a better feel. It's more chunky and more feedback. But this one is extremely good as well. It's very nice. It's a thin bezel, coin edged. And the bezel inlay is not ceramic here. We've got titanium, what's it called? Titanium carbon coating over a stainless steel insert. But you wouldn't know it wasn't ceramic. It really, look at it. It really does look the part. I'm not sure how this titanium carbon coating is done, but it's sort of ceramic-ish. And you also have a shrouded and protected pip at 12, which is nice to see because they didn't bother with that on my Marine Master, which I never liked, this unprotected triangle, which is just painted on, and it's a bit of a worry. At least you've got some protection here on the Uemura. Moving on from that, I could talk about the case here. We'll take him off again. The case is a cushion case, and the finishing is definitely a big step up from this, what it's called, the SPB 151, which we had on the channel, the Willard. We've reviewed it on the channel. Mr. June had that. He had to sell it to buy this. It is not the same. This is a night and day difference. It's the finishing is insane here. You've got perfection in the brushwork, sort of radial concentric-ism around the top of the case. And then you have, the reason I've got the Saab here is there's a striking similarity with this lovely Saab 35, the Spirit. If you look at the case side, they've added this stepped bevel to the side of this Uemura. It's not found on the SLA033 or the 151. This is a new thing, but it's not new because they've done exactly the same thing here on this beautiful case of this Saab. You can see it's the same. So that's great. That's why I've got him out. Doesn't get much wrist time nowadays. He's more of an ornament for me, but I love him. So you've got that on the transition there, that lovely step. And this is, as you probably know anyway, because you're all complete idiots who know everything about Seiko. But it's full Zaratsu, all up the side. Very hard to shine it up because it's always smudged. That's the problem with this mirror polish. You can even see me. Look at the state of it. But it's exceptional polishing, hand polished Zaratsu finish all on the sides of the case. And I believe this outer ring of the bezel here is also Zaratsu polish because it's incredibly shiny and looks the part. You know, Mr. June and I weren't sure about this. It put us off a bit before we got this watch, but I've grown to love it almost immediately. It looks great. It just adds a interesting aspect to the watch. It's like a jewel, this watch. It's like a jewellery, really. It really is. But a tough jewel that you can dive with. And you've got a lovely texturized dial. Which is... It's got a sort of papery feel. You've got anthracite, you've got deep grey, you've got black in low light, and you've got pressed indices here, which look applied, but they're pressed just like the Marine Master ones. They are pressed. Seiko says they do that for durability. You've got a date window that's been moved round to 4:30 from the 151's 3 o'clock, so they didn't have to truncate this loom marker at 3, which is a great thing. It just looks, it's almost like a no date, a bit like the Slim Turtle. It looks great, but the date's there if you need it. White on black, so it's not too obtrusive visually, and it looks amazing. You've got these stick-like hands, which are very nice. They're polished, they're beveled with a polished side and a brush side, fully loomed, and the stop-light seconds hand, which sweeps around in a very nice, lovely, smooth way. Pretty good. The bracelet, well, that's pretty good too for a Seiko, and it ought to be at the price. It's not the best. It's a 3-piece. It articulates very well. Nice articulation. Pin and collar as usual. It does have a male end link, which does add a little bit to the lug-to-lug with drilled lugs. And it's got this sort of satinized finish, polished flanks, and then you get these polished shoulders that straddle the scapula of the center link, which looks great. And the tolerances are Seiko tolerances. I mean, it's not bad. Actually, that's quite good. It's not bad, bros, but the beach looks a little bit wobble, but you don't notice that unless you go fiddling around. It's pretty good. So it's a nice bracelet. The only thing I don't like about this bracelet is this. They've put a 6R clasp from a 6R level watches on an 8L Seiko. So this clasp is what you get with the Steelmaster, 62 Mass, etc. All those watches that cost a lot less than half the price. You're getting the same clasp. There's nothing essentially wrong with it. It's a press-fitted clasp with a milled swing arm. It's a press shell. It's got 4 micros. It's got your usual get rid of it immediately, go away quickly, and never come back here ever again. Dive extension, which is alright, but you won't use it. And it does have an inherent flaw, inbuilt flaw. It's a bastard to put back together, especially on camera, bros. There we go. There we go. Now, it does have this thing that happens to it. You see here, there's some marring here, and this happens on all these 6R clasps, and it's only because of this. You push this back, take it off, it scratches up your own clasp. It's bastard, really. But that's how it is. So this should have been redesigned. They should have had, I don't know, a Marine Master clasp or some kind of new clasp, but that's what you get. No ratcheting whatsoever is featured here. What else isn't good about it? Well, I mean, it's not really that it's not good, but the crown, if you see the way it's been fitted in, it is extremely well protected and hidden away, but actioning it and using it, winding is, it's not really a major thing, but it's difficult to turn, and you know, it's not going to put me off, but it's just, because it's the way it's recessed here, it's hard to get onto it and actually do anything with it, but you know, that's okay. Got a lovely case back, screw down as usual. You've got the Seiko Wave, and this is the, what date have we got? We've got 2021 March, 8L35B movement, solid links, solid end links. I mean, overall, it's an absolute piece. I mean, it's not as good as my Casio, which is insane, but overall, it's very, very lovely. And so, that's about it for the review. It's a bit difficult to do a loom shot because it's broad daylight, but I have just put some new batteries in my loom torch, so I'll sort of glow him up a bit for you. The loom on this watch isn't as good as it is on the Marine Master 300. That's a fact. It is probably the same loom, I just think there's less of it. It glows well. I mean, it's brilliant. It's better than the loom you're going to get on SKX or any lower tier Seiko, but it is not... How can I do this? Get the Marine Master out, try and do them both. Let's get them both glowing. It's not going to beat the Marine Master for loom, but it's pretty bloody good. I mean, can't really tell, but the Marine Hui does double the loom. It's deeper, it's better. And that's it, guys. Oh, and one other thing. You may have seen, or you may not have seen, my short I did. This watch looks insane on this strap. This is the SLA051JO. This is the Seiko secondary strap that came with the SPDX017 Marine Master, the predecessor for this one, the old one that didn't have the Prospex X on the dial. And on this bracelet, just look in my shorts if you want to see it, it just looks insane. Unfortunately, it's not a very comfortable bracelet strap, but it's very stiff. But you can buy this from Watch Parts Plaza, Dutch company, for about £40, I think I paid for this. It might be more now. They are available, and if you ever get one of these watches, this strap makes it look mental. So that's it, guys. Gef's finished his review, and I hope you liked it. Not sure what's next or when anything else will be coming, so in the meantime, stay freaky, keep all feathers retarded, never give up, and kill yourselves immediately.